Bret Hart is the WWE, at the time, WWF champion, and he signed a new contract with WCW, World Championship Wrestling. Bret signs a new contract as the current champion of WWF. Vince says, all right, we're going to Montreal. I need you to drop the belt because you're out of here in a couple days. They devise this plan. Shawn's going to put Bret, just for a second or so, in Bret's finisher. Vince is ringside and calls for the bell. Like, he didn't tap, nothing like that. And all of a sudden, Shawn's like, what the F, man? Bret's like, what the F? Spits on Vince. Starts doing WCW, like writing it, so people can understand. And you're like, wow, Shawn's the new champion. Shawn Michaels, for at least 15 years, denied knowing anything about it. He finally came out and admitted it. He was in on the whole thing. Razor Ramon, the bad guy, he, to the day he died, was like, that was a complete work. Bret was in on it.
Young Junk!
You are the one that told me about Street Needles. And what a great entrance to our weekly podcast that you know about Street Needles.
I was a psych major with a focus on addiction studies. I knew a lot about a lot that I had no business knowing.
And a very small heroin addiction that you've done great about and kicked it. Today might have been the day I wish I hadn't stopped crack. But oh well, you'll have
Shoulda,
those
woulda,
days.
coulda.
No, that was funny though. So yeah, we're talking about Chef Josh and Mecca and who's been there the longest, like in our kitchen, whatever. But Chef Josh, that true story. And, he doesn't always remember everything. And he was shocked that I remembered the baby's birthday. Partly because all the Eagles were shouting his birthday out at La Roca. And Josh has to reach out to me because he's been gone. We went through the pandemic. Was it 5 years ago? And we're still in the pandemic. And Josh gets called by his reserve unit. Hey, you need to come in. Do you know what he was doing? Did you know what he was doing while he...
No.
When the reserves called Josh to active duty...
Well, he was on body duty.
He was on body duty. He was moving
he got sent
bodies
to New York for COVID body duty.
No. Eventually.
Yeah.
They started in Philly.
I know he wound up in New York. Because New York had I hate to say the biggest known mass graves from COVID.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. In the States, at least.
Holy crap. I never even thought about mass graves of COVID.
That doesn't count.
Wait, who
China.
does that? Not health departments. Not... really, I'm asking.
People who were all of a sudden... I don't know who was in charge of digging a mass grave, but I think the bodies that wind up there are the people who said, oh, my so-and-so is healthy. I don't have to think about a funeral for another X amount of years. And then COVID hits, people died who never should have died. And, well, I can't pay for a funeral. What do I do?
And again, I don't know. I do know I sent a lift for him. He interviewed, he came in person. I reached out to him on Valentine's Day. 2020. Said to him, hey, I liked you. I'm going to create a spot for you. And I need to know right now if you want a job. Josh, man of many, many words.
Yes.
Very much like me, hard to shut up. Not. So he sends me probably one word back. And I go, bro, listen to me. I'm sending a lift for you right now. I looked up the address of the restaurant you're working at. And it's going to be there at 742 or whatever it was. I had all these reservations for Valentine's Day. I had Manny Young Pope, the church up on the hill. I had him who drives around in the golf cart.
Yep. Manny Young Pope mobile.
Who, ironically, will start this off. There's a method to all my madness. I met him through Vince. Vince, who I've known for a couple of years at that point from Jaeger and Fireball. But Vince was he was one of these local reps. And then Vince is like, oh yeah, Jaeger, I know Mike. Or I said, I know Mike. And he's like, that's my boss. Like, yeah, well, he signed me to a contract in 2006 for Jägermeister. And just, the funny things that happened over the years, because here's we are talking about Mike, Vince, the Pope of Manayunk, who came in Valentine's Day and they wanted fish. I'm not sure, but I think if you look it up, Valentine's Day 2020, I think it was a Friday even. I couldn't be sure of that. It felt like it. And so I met that guy, and then Vince, and then it turned into Terramana, which we won't get into, but here we are with hosted by Wheatley Vodka, WWE Fireball. And again, I'm not trying to, my mind, the way my mind works. This is all one big loop of things. Ironically enough, Cody Rhodes' podcast is now out on a regular basis. And isn't it crazy how they have them with the Wheatley bottles in front of them, drinking out of the little Wheatley mugs that I had us drinking out of.
Little Wheatley mule mugs.
Early on. And
the law of the podcast. That's
yeah,
best.
and I know we're talking about Josh, but we segued into Vince and Michael. So we are still, as of whatever time it is, sponsored by Wheatley Vodka Fireball, and thankfully the WWE, their communications department. That's so cool that they've taken a shine to wrestling podcasts that I never paid attention to. And if I told Josh to watch one,
He'd choke.
he would just, yeah, you're right. That's Josh. Yeah. So we'll see. And I mentioned in Terramana, and I've already been in trouble so many times with Wheatley and Avocado telling me, come on, focus on Wheatley. And the next podcast, I wear some other vodka hat on purpose, just because
Stir the pot.
I am politically incorrect and damn proud of it. And that became a slogan in ECW. You can plagiarize, rip me off, whatever you want to do. But back to Josh, Mike, Terramana, Wheatley. No bottles here. But if you want to see Wheatley vodka bottles, tune in to Cody Rhodes' podcast. And it looks just like we started a year and a half ago, whenever that was. But now my competitive juices are slightly annoyed, and I'm not going to do what I'm going to do. And it is what it is. So my final thought, Josh Mecca. Josh was there first. I really need to look at the years that Josh was there, and we won't even count it on air. And then we'll look at the years Mecca has been there. I think you're right, though. I think Mecca has time in service longer.
Yeah.
Josh has time in grade with an interruption. Slight interruption.
Yeah.
Well, because he left, he was trying to just build his career.
Yeah.
And that's just a big shout out now as we segue into what I would actually want to talk about. But shout out to Chef Josh, who I've also now decided that we're going to talk a little bit more La Roca on this podcast. I've always tried to stay away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Be different, but I don't want this to be an advertising tool, because then I feel like a schlub. Like, oh, I'm doing this, and it's just advertising. We were on Sean and Lou's podcasts. Let's do it one time for Sean. My boy. Love Sean and Lou. They got us in here in the door at Young Chunk. But that was they didn't want to talk about Winnie's because it wasn't a Winnie's podcast.
Right.
It was just, I forget what they were called, Dining.
Supper Club.
Supper Club, exactly.
Supper
And
Club.
I love that.
And they talked a lot about the service industry. Theirs was very
That's exactly
service
what they were
industry
talking about,
focused.
which was
It's
awesome.
very much like, how'd you get into it? What do you do? Your best customers, your worst customers. We went on and I talked about, working my way through school using the service industry. It's a great tool for students to use.
That was your first podcast you ever did.
Yeah.
That was my second podcast. I did with Chubby Dudley for for Where Have You Gone? Like TWA wrestlers. That was before they brought back One and Done. So yeah, but now I'm willing to talk about La Roca a little bit more. Very proud of it. Very proud of what we do. And we have our
We've had a
employees
lot of
on.
LaRocca on.
And we did it live with Terry. I saw it today for the first time. It's just like, dude, I look so old sometimes. I'm sitting there going, it was in the midst of my really being kind of sick to it. I think it was 100
It
degrees.
was like 100 degrees. It was
Yeah.
storms all day that
Did
day.
it?
We couldn't have like any ventilation.
Oh, it was brutal.
It was insane. It was just, yeah.
I think it might have been a conspiracy.
A conspiracy.
Which is what I want to talk about. Because I got to think,
conspiracy to keep my face shiny.
when any truants are talking behind my back, part of it is, first of all, he's insufferable. But he's our father. He's like, and I get that. But I am that conspiracy theory junkie. Junkie, right? I guess.
I was finishing your sentences earlier about them. It's been a story of my life for 30 years. I
feel
know your
bad.
conspiracy theories. I know your take on them. I can finish those theories in my sleep.
So let me ask you a question. You went to, when you were in school, you went to Memphis for a couple months, Florida a couple months. Other than me in your head, and then I don't remember what big happened in the news during those times. To you as a person, does conspiracy ever play a role in the news when you see it or something like that? And would it not if you weren't my daughter?
I think it's funny that you bring up Memphis and Florida because recently, you know what, plane crashes happen. They happen. It's a part of.
They've been happening frequently.
Yes, but again, car crashes happen. So if car crashes happen, plane crashes have to happen. Engines, motors, those kinds of things, they crap out. Things crash, burn, whatever. I literally said to someone the other day, I took 18 flights in the span of 6 months between Memphis and Florida. I was on 18 different planes because of all the layovers I had to take because I almost never had a direct flight because small airports are just never. Somehow Philly never flies to the small airports directly. Had a lot of layovers at Ronald Reagan Airport in D.C.
Yeah.
Had a lot
Formerly
of
Dulles.
layovers in North Carolina with Memphis. You could not pay me to get on a plane right now. They are falling out of the sky faster than birds with the flu.
So that might be conspiracy
Like-
theory. So let's start there.
That makes me a bad person to say it that way.
MH370.
Jesus.
Okay.
It's in the ocean somewhere. And all those
Is that what you think?
all those passengers were safely evacuated.
270 is
According
here we go.
According to the Bible of Stephen Truitt, all those passengers were safely evacuated.
No,
And that ocean,
it's a possibility.
they were safely evacuated and either paid off or then drowned in the ocean with the plane.
So here's some options.
So,
It got redirected. It changed over Vietnam or I don't even know the
there
countries.
was one person on that plane that the government wanted dead, and they got him.
No. There was more than one. No. There was 8. They were HIV people.
They had the cure, and the
I believe
government
that.
wants to suspend money trying to cure HIV.
They had
and
something.
we can't
I
cure
believe
it,
it
guys.
was 8 people.
It's like, okay, so it's like the cure for cancer. Do we have it?
Yes.
Okay, well.
It's a big business.
Listen,
I'm sorry.
pharma is a
Was
very
that
big
out loud?
medicine.
Did I answer too fast? Do I have an FU cancer on my arm? Should it be FU government? I don't know.
Pharma
Because
is a big
believe
business.
I believe cancer is real. I just believe that we can do so much, but we can't.
Okay,
We can't head off some of these
So then,
horrible diseases.
let me ask you a question I've never actually asked out loud. Did we have a legitimate cure for COVID that we never used? And we
So,
just let people die?
Again, here, let me throw a disclaimer in this podcast. We never talk politics. We don't do that. We don't do it in any bars we own, any restaurants that we own. Do I think we did? I think we might have had the vaccines earlier. People were forced to take vaccines to work certain jobs. LaRocca specifically, or in general. Restaurants. I forget all the things all the hoops I had to
If
jump
you
through.
were a college student, you had to get the
No,
vaccine.
no, no, oh, no. It was much
Yeah.
deeper than that.
Oh,
No,
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 but
no, no,
I'm saying
no.
it wasn't even just jobs. It was like
Oh,
students
it
were
was a
forced.
college student, you
As
mean?
a college student to
I'm
go
sorry.
back to
I'm
school, you
sorry.
had to get the vaccine. I had to get the vaccine for school.
Right.
I had to get the vaccine.
So again, is
I
that
already
a
had it.
so we won't get into the politics of
But is it a conspiracy?
because
Like,
you know
did we
my
have
boy
it?
Mike, my boy Mike from forever. Mike would be on here and I love him, but he wouldn't be able to have this conversation without bringing up that he didn't believe in COVID, that it didn't happen,
There's a lot
that
about
the vaccines were not real, and it's a tracking system in us. Not gonna lie, conspiracy theory, whatever you want to say, call this. If I have my phone on this desk and I mention MH370, I mention any other conspiracies that I'm going to bring up,
we're about to be flagged by the government.
no, they'll come up on my phone immediately on TikTok. So how is that possible that my phone is not? How does my phone just all of a sudden out of the clear blue?
Because Big Brother's always listening, but I don't think
I
he's
agree.
necessarily listening through a vaccine I put in my body.
I
have
agree.
I have an
I agree
autoimmune
with that. No, I agree.
because what was my big thing?
And,
I have an autoimmune disorder.
You
I was
do.
going to take it.
right. And me,
Did
I,
it suck? Yeah. That second vaccine took me out.
I work
I
in the
was-
restaurant though. So my deal was, if I can remember it correctly, if
We had
everyone
to.
was vaccinated, you didn't have to wear masks. If one person wasn't vaccinated, the entire staff had to wear a mask. And then it got to the point, I don't want to talk about COVID, and then it got to the point where you had the plastic shields.
Stormtroopers.
So let's go back a couple presidencies,
We were all
okay, with
stormtroopers.
Halliburton and Bush. And, we got attacked because I'm bringing up 9/11.
Well, bring up the other Bush conspiracy.
Hang
then, too.
on, but Cheney shooting a dude in the head? What? I don't know what you're talking about. So
Time to go hunting.
let's go back, though, and just say Halliburton during 9/11, we went after Saddam Hussein. Again, I don't want to talk about politics. Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with 9/11, but we wanted his oil. We wanted his, his land, da-da-da-da-da. And he did need to go. Homie was done, needed peace out. But we blamed him originally, and everyone knew better because of the, what did he try to blow up originally? I think it was not the towers, another building in New York in the parking lot in 92 or 93 or something. So,
Ooh, kind of like
conspiracies, hang
Oklahoma
on.
City.
So, because you know me, I will lose my train of thought. You asked me. I think cancer. I think we have some cures. I think a lot of it is big business, and I hate to say that as an American, as a human, but I feel that that we haven't solved the common cold other than going to CVS and buying NyQuil. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think. Yeah, I mean, with the cold rhinovirus, it's viral. It's not bacterial. When you have a viral infection, you're not killing something.
I get it.
And so we cure bacterial infections. We don't cure viral.
How is this crazy that we're talking about conspiracies? Talking about Josh carrying dead bodies from the coronavirus.
Because Josh came back with like this Josh smile on his face going, do you know what I did?
Oh, I was texting.
I was scooping bodies.
No, we were talking. We
Like
were talking
Josh.
while he was doing it. So let me go back to my first subject, MH370, Malaysia 370. Some options, some legit options, supposedly.
Mhm.
Let's go from number one. You can rank them in order of possibly happening. Go to number one. Alien abduction. Yes, I'm not joking.
Where does Godzilla fall on this
He
list?
is not in that. He is not in MH370. Number two, Russia kidnapped the plane, blah, blah, blah. And the people, where are the people? Because Russia then did shoot down a Malaysian flight that had more HIV doctors on it. And they finally, just in the last 4 or 5 months have been found guilty of shooting that down 10 years ago.
Okay.
Like, oh, yeah, to the point where there's going to be repercussions, financial, tariffs, whatever.
Repercussions.
But that's Russia. So one of the theories is, the whole plane's been abducted by aliens because the plane's not there. So number 2, Russia or somebody abducted it somehow. We do know that the pilot, man, I should have done my homework. He had a simulator in his basement at home, and he had this flight, but they found nothing else nefarious on his simulator. Nothing that was, worrisome.
Oh, he tried to crash it into the ocean.
Yeah, and he had, I know he had a wife. I believe he had kids. But he did he go to the bathroom and the co-pilot locked him? You just don't know. So let me give the because I'm that math guy. I believe that there is enough super smart. What's the word?
Aerospace engineers.
Yeah, we'll call them men that can figure out where the gas, if they were going to run out, no matter if they would have went right, left, center, blah 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 blah. And then there's enough people, genius nautical people, that can worry about the currents that night, where the currents were. And then we have, in part of what we have spent a lot of money. Why are we spending money other than for United Nations? Malaysia has spent a lot of money.
Well, how many American passengers were on that plane?
I don't know.
Because that's why we spend money.
I don't think there was a lot.
But even then, I think if there's one, we somehow have to go in on the investigation.
I think it was a thing that the world kind of came together, honestly.
A freaking plane went missing.
Well, Russia, I don't know that they helped, but those they mapped.
And sometimes it's selfish. We put in money because we're like, well, we don't want this to happen to one of our planes.
Right.
Let's kind of get in on this investigation to see what.
Hunt for Red October. Yeah, I'm just saying. At the end of that movie, they're like, "Yeah, we don't know what happened to your ship," as he's telling the Russian dude in the office, knowing that the guy defected, and they flew or drove the submarine. So MH370. The calls were still live when they possibly should have been in the water. They spent so much money mapping that. Like, they have these things that went for so many miles underneath unexplored cavern or mountainous caverns, whatever you want to call them.
I'd like to know at what point does the electrical in the plane kind of turn off to preserve their ability to steer? Or do they lose
pings in the black box?
Yeah, or do they lose some of that steering, that map power, so that the passengers can still have the ability to call their family and tell them they love them? Which one goes first?
Decompress the cabin or the whatever you call it, where the passengers are, so they're asleep. So that way,
yeah. But
they're easy hostages.
But also
abductees for aliens.
Well, but even then, so in real world planes that aren't about to get abducted by aliens or stolen by Russia, you think about the Hudson River, Sully. If they decompress the cabin, those passengers would not have survived.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have done that.
But
no, what I mean is decompressing it to help you steal the plane or whatever happened.
But if you don't have that power from Russia, like maybe Russia intercepted the signals. So Russia doesn't have the power to decompress the cabin. So pilots shouldn't necessarily have that power, because what if Sully had decompressed the cabin to shut them all up so he could concentrate? We don't have this amazing story of the Hudson River.
Off topic, that's a hero. That's a guy who did everything right in the heat of the moment. Apparently, everything right.
In the heat of the moment. We saw that movie in the middle of summer in the movie theater to use someone else's air conditioning to have a cool summer. How about heat of the moment.
Tom Hanks. You want to talk about conspiracy theories?
Oh, boy.
Tom Hanks does not live in the U.S. anymore. Wow. So this is going right into another topic. Because supposedly he is on the Epstein list. No,
I
he's
can't.
on it. It doesn't matter if you can't picture it. He flew his plane. He was on his plane and went to the island. There's no disputing it.
But how many times?
I don't know.
Was it just once?
I
And
don't know.
he got back on the plane and turned right back around.
It only
Because
no.
we're talking about Toy Story
If you
here.
kill somebody or do something really bad to another human being, it only takes one time. And I'm not saying, he needs to be road to perdition, and killed at the end.
My thought process is like, did he get off the plane and say, "Oh
First of
shit,
all,
this is what's
I'm
happening"?
a Tom Hanks guy. I find it suspicious that he won't live in the U.S. anymore. And during Epstein, but Epstein now Trump. Here we are. We're filming on a Thursday. Trump on a Tuesday says, "I don't want to talk about Epstein anymore."
And
On Wednesday, that chick, Giselle, whatever,
Giselle
starts
Maxwell.
making noise about wanting a pardon, and Trump's like, "No," because and then we're filming on a Thursday. 1 week ago today, or last Friday, they started to release some Epstein jail video of him walking to his cell for the very last time. But they swear there's no, this and that. They swear nobody came into his cell and took his life.
But there's no camera that points into his cell.
Dude,
So,
it's
like,
Epstein.
I'm sorry, 11
Hillary Clinton said, "Hey, I'm going to kill this guy," and I'm being for real. "I'm going to have this guy killed. I don't want it on camera."
Okay.
I believe that's what happened.
11 prisoners in New Orleans were able to have their toilets removed so that they could escape a prison. Who says no one removed the toilet from Epstein's cell to crawl in, kill him, and get back out?
I get it. But Hillary's a little bit slower now. And if anybody's going to kill Epstein, who's the prince? Who?
Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
Oh, the queen could have had him killed for that. She's dead now.
She was too old.
Okay, no, she could have had him killed. I'm
Epstein.
not saying she crawled
the
through the
prince.
trenches of the
She
prison.
could have had both killed.
She wouldn't. That was her son, though. I don't think she would have had the son killed.
She kind of
Listen, we all know she had Princess Di killed, but we don't have to think that she had to have
or did
her
she,
son killed.
Was he in
Or
on
was
it?
it Charles?
Yeah, please.
Okay, but what I'm saying, like, she could have just sent the edict down to say, like, listen, we got to get rid of this before even more comes out.
So-
That he was flying them to the castle.
Tom Hanks has won. I think, thankfully,
But when-
the U.S. has just kicked out Ellen DeGeneres.
But
Finally.
when did Tom Hanks leave the U.S.? Was it before or after the election? Because I'm pretty sure it was after
Which
the
election?
election.
Which one?
This past
Oh,
one.
years before.
That he
he's been-
changed
he's-
primary citizenship.
He has not lived in the U.S. for years at this point. Him and his wife, Rita. They had not lived in the but part of it is because you get uppity like that Ellen DeGeneres dude. And they said, if Trump wins, I'm going to move. Peace out, homie. Shut up. But here's a crazy thing. Her ex, Anne Heche, okay?
Oh, boy.
Let's talk about conspiracies. If you saw, you know how she died, right?
That big old fiery crash.
Yeah, they killed her. But she didn't die in the car crash that they tried when they cut her brake lines or whatever they did. She drove into the house, died. Then you see her being wheeled out on the gurney, and you know what happens? Do you remember what happens?
No.
She moves the blanket and sits up. It's clear as day. And I get dead bodies have reflexes or whatever you call
Not
that
even
still.
dead bodies. Close to dying bodies.
Dude, she sat up.
Close to dying bodies still have they have high powered neurons firing up here that send the last major flare sometimes
She moved the body bag. She wasn't in a body bag yet.
under a blanket.
I think she was in some blankets, and she moved it and sat up, burned. You could tell that she had extreme amounts of burns.
But were they saying she was DOA, like they were dead when they found her? Or were they
They're
saying
saying she was dead when they found her in the living room of the people's house, with her car stereo, jamming. I don't know.
I'm also going to say this. I think your ability to find a pulse on a badly burned body, not great.
Did they even try? Why would they even try if she wasn't moving? I just feel
You go into shock.
she had dirt on people. She was going to expose some more Weinstein Hollywood stuff. I don't know if she was involved in
Once.
Diddy at all or any of that nonsense. But she had dirt, and she was threatening to
Conspiracies.
write a book. And that Ellen DeGeneres, you know, she's evil. I mean, I should say evil. She's mean. Evil is a completely different,
Well,
thing, obviously.
So if we're getting into the Hollywood conspiracy,
Uh-oh.
then so you can get into, the whole Diddy, Jamie
Mm.
Foxx.
So Jamie Foxx has come out and said, or
Leave
at least
Diddy out of it.
or at least his new clone said Diddy didn't try to kill him. Again, was Diddy doing this, telling him to say that? Because Jamie Foxx led people to believe Diddy might have been involved with his heart attack.
Well, okay, so then conspiracy theories. What was J-Lo's involvement?
She's just a horrible singer and actress.
Wait, no, who did they have killed? Big Pun? Eazy?
No. So
Yeah.
Well, no. Diddy killed.
Big Pun.
Diddy had Jay-Z's. The girl he got pregnant killed.
No, but there's another one.
And that didn't come out in the trial.
But a big rapper from that time. He was supposed to do
I don't think it was Big Pun.
No, I think it was.
Was it Big Pun?
He was
Was
supposed
he
to do
from Jersey?
He was supposed to do a show on like a Saturday night, and they canceled the show because he wasn't feeling well. And the next day, he had died of a heart attack.
Well,
and he was supposed to do it with Diddy and J-Lo.
The first shocking AIDS death. Not Rock Hudson, who was in the 80s, a handsome actor. No one knew he was gay. He was so good looking. All the women loved him. My mom, like my parents and grandparents were like, who, Rock Hudson? But Eazy-E from NWA, a lot of those guys felt that somebody hit him with a needle at a party.
Just
because
a quick little,
he didn't shoot up and he wasn't gay or bisexual, apparently.
All it takes is a quick little prick to, in fact,
and Diddy's a quick little prick if you watch the Freak Off tapes. Just saying.
Well, now I'm uncomfortable.
It is what it is. But Eazy-E was, there's people like and different conspiracy about Diddy or Tupac and Biggie, because now that's factual of who killed who. Orlando Anderson killed Pac, and Diddy was retaliation. It was Diddy, actually.
Biggie
that killed
was
Biggie is what I meant. Yeah, and it was Diddy who paid, his name will come to me during this. I forget, because he's still in jail.
Suge Knight.
No.
Not Suge Knight.
No.
Suge Knight got dragged into all of it.
Suge Knight got dragged into it all, but it was, it turns out it was Diddy. But back to some conspiracies that we can prove. Can't prove Eazy-E. Can't prove MH370 yet because, man, I want to know where that plane is. I just feel, again, let me finish up that thought about that plane. There's such great nautical people that knew what those currents were, and there's great aerospace engineers, whatever you want to call them, that say, okay, he could only land in this window. The only debris that has ever been found from MH370...
Is it like a wing?
They've now found, I think, 16 or 20 pieces. The same guy has found every single piece, ironically. They found the drifter. That was the first big piece that they found from the wing, but the barnacles meant that, the barnacles didn't match where it should have come from.
Yeah.
The little sea creatures. Yeah.
Swim with the current, not against it, friends, especially if you're trying to cover a crime.
So Epstein, I brought that up, and now Trump... Because I don't know if Trump's on that list or not, but Trump's saying, I don't want to talk anymore about Epstein. So when Trump and Elon broke up, when that little power couple broke up, that was one of the first things Elon said was...
I don't want to be associated with this and wait for it to come out.
Pay attention to that list because Trump is on the Epstein list. I don't care.
Which
I
we
don't
all
care.
knew.
It's about Epstein.
We knew. But there's pictures of all of them together for years. So it's like, somehow everyone's involved. But I think you said something fun there, which is that conspiracy can't be proven. But I think what's fun about conspiracies is none of them can be proven. There are these really big, as of right now, none of them are proven. When we really think about conspiracies, none of them are considered fact because maybe somewhere along the way someone takes a quick little needle prick to the neck and then they can't talk anymore.
Let's
But that's what makes conspiracies fun. They're these fun ideas to just talk about and
talk
speculate.
myth versus conspiracy, okay? So growing up, you knew I always believed in Bigfoot.
Yeah.
My whole life. And to this point, I'm not saying I don't, but there was a famous photo where he is turned halfway, blah, 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 blah.
I know the photo.
And it came out, it was staged. So that was like a homegrown conspiracy theory.
That's proven to be myth.
But here's another one like that. D.B. Cooper, one of my favorite ones, on an airplane, and I'm airborne, United States Army, jumped out of plenty of planes. This guy
Jumped out of a plane without a parachute after robbing a bank to take all the money.
No, he didn't
So-
rob the bank. He robbed the airplane.
Robbed the airplane.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
No, I think he robbed a bank.
No.
Like he had the money.
No, he didn't have the money. I'm pretty sure he didn't have the money. He got the money on the plane, like $250,000 or something like that.
Okay.
Whereas
How do you get that much money on a plane?
if you're
Okay, so maybe it was like a bank plane because there's a
Probably.
bank involved in there somewhere.
But again,
He robbed
This is the late 60s, early 70s.
where a
so-
$250,000 was $1 million today.
And
Or
the
no,
pla-
I'm sorry, a $250,000 was $5.
There was
today.
nowhere near as many planes as there are now. But now they found him. Now they think they actually know who he might have been. I don't remember his name. And the one kid with his father was out fishing, found a bunch of bills. Years later, that serial numbers lined up, the ones that they could actually read. But like that's a that's a thing that happened, a conspiracy, because we don't know what happened. Whereas, let me get something really, really big again, not politics. The biggest conspiracy theory, I believe, of your lifetime is 9/11. So back up real fast. Pearl Harbor was not a surprise to us. We opened those floodgates by sending all those ships out. President knew, and it was a great way to get the economy kick-started. If we needed a war, that we could create all this metal, all these planes, all these tanks, all
Create
these
a
cars, all
war.
these jeeps, all the economy. It was
Create
about
a
work.
war, start a war. Warfare isn't surprising.
And it's hard for people to honestly dispute that when they look at the facts. But 9/11. So, what do I think are the conspiracy theories of 9/11? Years ago, what was that? 2002?
2001.
One.
September 11, 2001.
Okay. So years later, maybe 10 years later, I don't know. There used to be these magazines, Popular Mechanics, and all these other smart dudes and girls doing these magazines, math people, engineers, all these, people above my pay grade. They came out with this movie called Loose Change. And I think they spent about an hour at first. And it wasn't about, did we know that, did we let the terrorists, into the country? It wasn't about that per se. It was about, we had warning, which we obviously, as it turns out, we did. And did the president at the time, Bush, let it happen? I don't know. When it happened, he was with his peers. I think a first grade class when it happened. But if you go back and watch, and Loose Change, they slow it down for you. It just looks like at the towers, and that's where I'm going to start, that there was some controlled blasts on different floors before the tower. And again, I'm just a stupid guy. To me, if you would have said to me that tower is going to crumble straight down, and on the 17th and 30th or whatever the floors were, the compression was just going to make it look like there might have been some explosion. It wouldn't take a lot to have talked me into that back then until I started having a slight obsession, as I do with some conspiracy
Yeah.
theories.
The only thing I know about towers are the Lego towers I built as a kid and what it took to knock them down.
Well, Tower 7. How about this?
Jeez.
Tower 7 in New York, they wanted to take that down. And there was a lot of paperwork in there, government paperwork, and it was nowhere near the towers. and it came down that day. How? Why? It had nothing to do with those towers. But you said, oh no, that was part of the 9/11 crash. It was the fallout, the debris. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And did we let it happen? I won't accuse Bush of that. I'll accuse Bush of being stupid. Here's a politics thing that I'll do. I believe the son, George Bush, was beyond stupid. I just think he was not a bright individual.
George W.
And Cheney was his hand up his back to a degree as a puppet.
Yeah.
You know,
a little
because
bit of a ventriloquist situation.
Cheney literally shot a dude in the head while Bush was president.
But he wasn't a good enough shot to kill him. And
the only
that's
thing they were
what's
good at was Halliburton.
wild. He shot a man in the head, but he wasn't good enough at being a bad person to kill him.
Now, he's good enough at being a bad person.
Yeah,
He
but
just,
He
yeah.
should have killed him.
Yeah, but he's just a douchebag.
Should have killed.
He
Like
should've.
you're the vice president.
Garage
Even
beer.
if
I'm still on garage beer. How crazy is that?
even if you shoot him point blank, you can get away with it as long as it's with the hunting rifle.
Well, again, as I said it earlier, we went after the wrong dictator. We went after Saddam Hussein, who we knew had nothing to do with 9/11. But again, that building 7 blocks away just ties in with the whole conspiracy theory.
Well,
and I hate that we lost so many lives.
it gets lost in the idea of the towers. It gets lost in the Pentagon. It gets lost of the plane that went down out in the Lehigh Valley.
Let me ask you this.
Did a plane hit
Did a
the
plane hit
Pentagon?
my former job? I used to work at the Pentagon. Did a plane hit it? Let's watch Terry, let's roll the video. Oh, my bad. There's no video of a plane hitting the Pentagon.
I would also like to go on the record and say I was 6 years old when this happened. All I know was I walked into the house that day. No one came to pick me up like they normally do.
I was going to run and get you that moment,
Yeah,
but I was listening to Howard Stern.
But then you forgot to come pick me up, and all of a sudden here comes Bud walking up to the elementary school like, yeah, I'm here to get my sister. We kind of forgot about her. We're watching the news at home, which
I got other daughters.
But it wasn't surprising for that day. A lot of kids were kind of left at the school that day.
No, it was crazy. America being attacked on our home soil had not truly happened. I mean, the guy in Oklahoma City that was terrorist, and he was a soldier at Fort Riley.
But I can remember back in that day, there was this 3-layer metal tower that was every kid's dream come true because it had a TV on it and a VCR. And when you saw that roll into your classroom, you knew it was movie day.
Yeah.
And you were about to have the best day ever.
Yeah.
And I remember that TV rolling into our classroom.
No.
Because my teacher,
second graders.
my teacher taught, at the time, he taught 1st and 2nd grade. And the class next to him was also 1st and 2nd grade. And so we were all jammed into one classroom so that the 2 main teachers and the 4 aides could all watch the news together on this TV. And none of us know what's happening.
Well, let me ask you now, Dr. Kaitlyn, is there any conspiracy theories whatsoever about 9/11 to you?
I mean, I grew up with you, so I know the idea of did we at least have warning? I don't think
warning.
The U.S.
We've admitted it now.
I don't think we planned it, but did we
didn't plan it.
But did we have warning we didn't act on?
Yes.
And so we're
that's a fact. That's a fact.
So we're negligent. And so
negligent.
Is it a conspiracy then? Like
but
I
again,
said, we have fact to prove that we had warning and we didn't act on it. I can say back maybe 15 years ago, the conspiracy was like, oh, it's 9/11. We planned it because it's 911. That's the number you call during an emergency. It's, we did this. And I don't think we didn't do this.
Who were the 2 humans in the entire planet that benefited the most from 9/11? Bush and Cheney, because they owned Halliburton. And that's who the private contractors that we sent overseas. I mean, again, I'm not trying to get stuck on 9/11. I'm not a 9/11 guy.
As a kid, you look at the pictures of the moment Bush is told that it happened, and you're like, look, he's reading a book to kids just like me. And I look at it now and I'm like, he just his face is just stupid in that
Because he
picture.
didn't know the words to the book.
No, but like the look on his face is
See,
someone's
see spot run.
as Secret
He got-
Service is
If you spot him the word run, he misses only one word.
nice.
Yeah,
But like as they're whispering in his ear, the look on his face is blank. It's not. But also like I know if you told me tomorrow awful news, my face might go blank. It might not look like horror. It's like,
you know, you got to keep a face about you. You're the president. I get it.
did you just tell me something awful? Even like I can even think about like being a teacher and like when my director would come in and say something to me, I can't let my face say what's happening up here because I'm in front of all of my students and my students know me almost as well as my friends know me. And they see a look of shock on my face or a look of horror on my face, they're going to kind of devolve with me.
Yeah, yeah.
So like I understand this idea of like don't let my face say what my mind is saying, but at the same time I look at his face and I'm like that's not the face of someone who's going these kids can read me like a book.
Well, and again, thanks to Wheatley and Fireball for now. But a famous wrestling conspiracy happened in, I guess it was the 90s. You know, it was the 90s, maybe 90. I don't know where I was. I don't know what I was doing. But
Was I alive yet?
What's that?
Was I alive yet?
Yes.
Okay, so it's after 94.
Yeah, no,
It's
it was
after
like 96,
95.
97. I don't know when it was. It was Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. They call it the Montreal Screwjob. Okay? And I'll lay it out to you, and you tell me if it's a conspiracy over one. Bret Hart is the WWE, at the time, WWF champion, and he signed a new contract with Turner, who I wasn't working for at that time, WCW, World Championship Wrestling. Bret signs a new contract as the current champion of WWF. So Vince says, all right, we're going to Montreal. I need you to drop the belt because you're out of here in a couple days. We don't want our belt walking out the door,
Right.
you know, and be completely devalued. So they come up with all these finishes. Well, we'll do this, or we'll strip him of the belt, blah, blah. You don't want to strip the guy of the belt because you don't want to devalue the belt again. So they came up with this idea, and this is where we currently stand in 2025. Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, Jim Cornette came up with this idea of Shawn will get Bret, and Shawn and Bret hated each other, by the way. Legit fights in the bathroom, hated each other. So they devise this plan. Shawn's going to put Bret, just for a second or so, in Bret's finisher. Vince is ringside and calls for the bell. Like, he didn't tap, nothing like that. And all of a sudden, Shawn's like, what the F, man? Bret's like, what the F? Spits on Vince, spits on the camera, starts doing WCW, like writing it, you know, so people can understand. And you're like, wow, Shawn's the new champion. And they took it off of Bret. Shawn Michaels, for at least 15 years, denied knowing anything about it. He finally came out and admitted it. He was in on the whole thing. He knew about that they were going to call for the bell. He was going to act surprised and annoyed because you didn't pin him. You know, here's my conspiracy theory. Bret, who believes every time he's won a championship from like Ric Flair, that he actually beat Ric Flair. Like, it's just funny. And we call that a work. You and I are having a match, and you're going to beat me, and we know the finish. It's called a work.
It's work.
What they did supposedly that night was a shoot to Bret. They knew, you know, Vince was in. Taker was not in on it because Taker was pissed in the back. So for over at least 15 years, and then Shawn finally admitted it. I was in on it. Bret's like, of course you were in on it. I've said it all along you were in on it. One of Shawn's closest friends, rest in peace, Razor Ramon, the bad guy. He, to the day he died, was like, yeah, no. That was a complete work. Bret was in on it. But you know, as a conspiracy theory, how they have dragged that on and how they have made money in Canada, specifically Canada, like Toronto. Where were they that night? Did I say Montreal? Because Brett became this vilified man who was such a good guy. And people don't believe it to this day. I am one of them. I believe it was a complete conspiracy theory for every fan that paid. It was a great finish. It's great that it's lasted this long. But in wrestling, it's hard to have certain conspiracies. I mentioned to you earlier, they did this. There was a girl in the 80s, Wendy Richter. She was the female champion when the Rock and Wrestling Connection happened. It was Hogan as the champ, Wendy Richter, pretty girl, fluffy hair, could talk, a little bit of a Southern accent, but she was the champ. And she needed a new contract. And they were haggling. Finally, they're in Madison Square Garden one night. And they say, oh, you're not going to work with Lilani Kai. You're going to work with the Spider Lady. She's like, I don't care, whatever. Okay, go about 6 minutes, take it home. She gets in, she gets into the ring, she goes, I knew who Spider Lady was immediately. It was the fabulous Moolah. They work a match. Moolah ain't putting up with no shit. Pinned her fast. Wendy Richter tried to get out of it. Didn't happen because Moolah's a tough dude, tough woman, whatever she was. She was brutal.
Moolah.
She was brutal. She was horrible to people. Supposedly. I believe it. Women.
Conspiracy theories.
She would pimp out some of her wrestlers. Yeah. To train them. And I hate to say it like that, but that was true. And again, that's a conspiracy theory that we're talking about.
But different
era.
Female world, different diva world.
Oh, yeah. There was no diva.
Yeah.
Because we're talking 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of women's wrestling.
Women weren't respected. If you wanted to
Moolah
get
had
screen
her-
time, you better do what you got to do to get it.
You're right. Moolah had her thumb on everybody.
And-
all the women, at least.
I mean, and that's how women's wrestling has gone. Do what you got to do to get the screen time. Be the best diva. Be the hottest this. Have the best voice. Have the best this to be a diva. For a while there, female wrestling was, who's your husband?
We talked about Charlotte Flair and Tiffy Time. And she said, your boyfriend's in my DMs.
Yeah.
You're 0-3 in marriages.
But even before that, I'm talking like mid 2000s.
Okay.
Those probably 2005 to 2018.
Kind of more divas still.
But they were trying to not be divas. Who's your husband? The Miz and Maurice.
Right. Punk and AJ Lee.
Punk and big guy, and his girlfriend or wife. Not Rusev and Lana. Sasha was. Oh no, there was another. She had the she was neon. She's not with one of the Usos.
She is. She's still married to him.
Okay, so she's.
Yeah.
But
Naomi.
Be a really great
female.
Yeah. Be a really great female.
Yeah.
But who's your husband?
Dude,
who's your boyfriend?
They love him because he's gotten DUIs and everything. And they still put the belts on him and everything.
But it's that idea
crazy.
of we've gone from this that early day of female wrestling of do what you gotta do to get your screen time, to get your ring time, to get this, to be a diva, we went to be a ring girl.
You know who loved the divas?
Be a diva.
You know who loved them? President?
Who?
JFK. Oh wait, they weren't around.
Well, he also
but
loved
either was he.
Marilyn Monroe.
Because who killed JFK?
Jesus.
I'm sorry. What was that? What did you just say?
Jesus.
I thought that's what you said.
Jesus.
Who
Jesus killed JFK.
You know it was Lee Harvey Oswald and the two dudes on the grassy knoll. So
JFK and the grassy knoll.
Is that the second longest conspiracy theory? The biggest one? Because we've joked about Titanic, how there's some business-wise, there was reasons not to have a successful launch.
They all could have fit on the lifeboats.
They all could have fit on those.
There was enough doors of the cabins for them to all float.
That bitch Rose, though, they should have killed her. She wouldn't even let Jack on that big. She had that big ass board.
Listen,
and she's just like, no, you just drowned.
She had a door to a cabin, and that's exactly why I said it, because I knew it would create this. So
JFK, that is the longest one, and I loved when Trump took over. I I loved when Obama took over because Obama said, "Oh, I'm going to start releasing all of this stuff," and they didn't. Trump did start getting released, and a lot of it's redacted. But there's like Lee Harvey Oswald. Let's just talk about him. Was he groomed by the Russian spies? Yes. Did they show him pictures while he was in jail for those few hours before Jack Ruby killed him? And he said, I never took that picture. Like, I wasn't in that picture. It's one holding a Russian, I forget what it's called. But it's like, yeah, that's really not a real picture of me. Honestly, who was the sniper? Who was that guy from the Chris? Who said he fought Jesse Ventura in a bar in Minnesota? He's dead now.
American Sniper,
Chris something
Chris
or other. Right,
Chris Kyle.
Right. So he's a great sniper, great shot. There's a lot of my soldier buddies who I've only been friendly with like 2 snipers because we didn't need them a lot during my career. And everyone's like, no. Lee Harvey Oswald would have had to have been the greatest marksman possibly on the planet to kill, to hit all 3 shots on Kennedy. The guys on the grassy knoll, who knows? Back to the front, you watch, who did the movie? Famous director. Oh my God. Stone. What's his first name? No, JFK was done by Oliver Stone. And, one of the telling signs is when Kennedy's hit the last time and he goes back and to the left.
That it has to come from
and
the
Oswald
front
was way
and
behind
the
him,
right.
in the plaza.
Well,
but
that's basic math. Like,
wait, so how come we're not releasing that? What is the problem? And Trump has said that there's people still alive
who decided
but
that
the woman,
he needed
the
to
one
die.
woman that was on the grassy knoll supposedly with a camera, one of those old brownies. Oh wow, I can't believe I remember the name of that camera. And claimed, there was other guys there, but she didn't say anybody. She saw anybody shoot. But she just recently passed. So Trump originally said he didn't want to start talking about any of this. Well, some of the people were alive, and I can almost respect that.
Let them die in peace. Let them live the rest.
So who's alive now? The 2 shooters, the dudes on the grassy knoll.
Oh no, they were executed probably as soon as it happened.
Immediately, they were buried out in some desert or something.
All the kids that were alive that day that only said anything to mom and dad and never came forth, and mom and dad were probably like, "Shh, don't say that."
That's a president of the United States, and again, you don't want to dig up all of the dirt because here's a guy, pretty Irish boy. He was in the Navy. He was on.
He had enough dirt.
PT 109. His back got so messed up. Yeah, but he didn't even win the election. He wasn't even the most popular candidate. His father had to hook up with Sam Giancana. And Sam Giancana in Chicago helped buy the presidency. And then we fast forward a couple of years later. Some chick, what was her name? Oh, yeah, Marilyn Monroe.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
And then she dies after clearly having an affair with John and possibly having an affair with Bobby and definitely being involved with Sam Giancana. So how did Marilyn die? We're not talking about murder. This isn't a murder. This is conspiracy.
She was
murdered.
Forced overdose. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Forced overdose.
But that's a conspiracy that kind of falls to the wayside to a degree because everyone goes back to JFK.
No one talks about that. No one.
You know what? They used to a little bit more when I was
years ago. But like, it's one of those
younger
conspiracy theories where you're just like, all right, Marilyn Monroe died. She's just Marilyn Monroe. My generation, I think, yes, we know who Marilyn Monroe is, but when we think of Marilyn Monroe, I think a lot of my generation doesn't even think of happy birthday, Mr. President.
Right.
No, they don't think of that. They think about the sewer grate scene
The dress.
With the dress.
The
And
blowing
that's
up,
what people
which
know
was an
about.
accident and an amazing, iconic photo.
It's iconic, but that's what my generation knows of Marilyn
Okay,
Monroe.
I got you.
Unless you know just a little bit more of history to know, even if you don't know all of it, know, happy birthday, Mr. President. Like, because that is that iconic moment where everyone kind of went like, oh, this is happening. Okay, this is actually
they're
what's
really a thing.
That was that moment where the whole world kind of went like,
Oh,
okay,
shit.
this is what's happening.
Yeah.
But my generation doesn't know that.
Right. Does
We've
your
never thought about
generation
it.
ready? So when the sun goes down,
Oh, dear God.
we see this.
The moon. Yes.
What does your generation feel about that? They don't care.
That there's an
You don't even
American
talk-
flag up there on the moon waving.
Is there?
Well, that's what my generation thinks.
So
My mind just kind of goes, yes, there's a moon there's a flag on the moon. My father says there isn't.
you know how I feel. And you just kind of spoiler alert on that. Without me. No, with me. No, with me. Just for me, you hear me talking to my friends and this and that and talking to you. Do you think we landed on the moon?
I mean, in 2025, we can barely get a rocket to the moon. How the hell did we do it all those years ago?
So
and I hate to say it that way, but like that's my thing. If technology is so much better today, or even how long ago we just brought people back from space.
Yeah.
How long ago did we send them up? They were up there for a good long while. But even if it took us that long to send them up there, how did all those decades ago we sent them up to space? I will say that at least in the school district where we live, I was raised, we do this big project our sophomore year of high school. And it's a binder project. I mean, you do it over the course of the semester and you watch a video from every decade from 1850 to the current, decade. And you write about the biggest stories that happen. And one of the major stories I had to write about was landing on the moon.
false moon
Because
landing,
what year was that?
69, I think.
I was about to say it's the
I don't know.
It's
it
the
just came
cusp.
off the top of my tongue.
It's the cusp of a decade. So it's
Yeah.
either the 60s or the 70s. But it's the major story or one of the major stories from that decade. So you write about it because you watch,
So let me give you some cons.
Steps for man and
Let me
one
give you the
giant leap
cons.
for mankind.
Buzz Aldrin refuses to discuss it. Excuse me, rest in peace. Refused to discuss it. Mentioned a couple times that he was not there. Again, did he ever have any bad disease, dementia or something? I don't know. Neil Armstrong, you'll never, ever, ever catch him saying, I landed on the moon. You'll never hear him say that. All right, a couple things. So now the flag, supposedly. Why is it waving if there's no
Okay,
current?
so it shouldn't be waving. It should be going straight up because zero gravity.
The shadows. Why are there shadows? Because of the film. Long ago, they used to think a director named Stanley Kubrick directed the moon landing, but somehow that went away. So here's some more. There's the radiation belt, okay, that you have to go through to get to the moon. They basically bought a roll of aluminum foil and made tin hats and said, oh, we're safe. I'm not kidding about that.
Okay, wait. They made tin hats, what, to make themselves safe from radiation and aliens?
Radiation.
I think
Originally,
it's from the aliens.
we were in a race with the Asians to get to the moon first. That's the truth. Okay. So we faked it. And I believe in everything that we've not been to the moon.
I know.
How does all of that technology and all those scientists' work accidentally burn up? The only thing in the room that burns up is how to get to the moon.
If only it had been in Tower 7.
Yeah. Good call. That was good. But it's gone. We don't even have it. And how come we haven't been back? Because we were told that the moon was a great investment for humanity. Whether it was the minerals, another place to possibly colonize, like way back in the day. Like we were told, and these moon rocks, dude, they came from the Darby Creek in Delco. Okay?
Oh, you just said crick.
Well, what am I supposed to say?
Creek?
Yeah, okay, well.
Little Crumb. I'm not Delco enough for you to say that.
All right, whatever.
I say Little Crumb Creek, not Little Crumb Crick.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's Little Crumb Creek, Little Crumb Creek.
Input from
They
Terry
didn't
in the
land
corner.
on the moon. Why? And there was a conspiracy about it, of course, because why wouldn't somebody, once he's in whatever job he had for a couple of months, why wouldn't somebody like Elon Musk want to expose it and rectify it? Or Bezos? Why wouldn't one of those guys say, well, I'm going to send people to the moon. I can afford it.
Okay. I didn't understand what you were saying there because I was about to say because they weren't about to make money from it. But if they could send people there, they'd make them.
They would make so much money.
They would do it in a heartbeat
because all their businesses would.
I mean,
you would see nothing on the street but those stupid cars.
It's
what are
all
those
about
cars?
what
we saw one on Main Street when we came here tonight.
An electric car. It's
like a silver tank.
Yeah, they're stupid looking.
I mean, they're bulletproof.
Cybertruck.
They're all that shit. They're like 108 G. But you're telling me, so we rescued those astronauts.
Yeah.
There's got to be something that somebody's signing, some NDAs or something. Why aren't we talking more about the moon?
Okay.
Why haven't we ever gone back?
Can I also
say we have not landed on the moon, Kaitlyn?
Us rescuing those astronauts felt a little bit like the plot from that Matt Damon movie where he's stuck up there by himself.
Martian. I love that movie.
So, like, did the
Till
U.S.
the end, then it's unbelievable.
Did the U.S. government steal plot from the movie Martian and send people and get them lost and have to save them?
I love that movie,
because
Martian.
that's what. I know because I've watched it
where
probably like 50 times in the past year.
And he's using his poop, for feeding and whatnot.
It's manure.
He was a botanist. Yeah, he was all kinds of things, colonizing that. We wouldn't have people that would volunteer to try to go colonize.
I mean, sure, not me, but sure. There's people.
So the radiation, wow. You're telling me that in 50-some years, we haven't even tried to go back, and no one else has.
I don't want to hear that the radiation is the factor, though, either.
It is. There's a whole belt around somewhere that you have to go through to get there.
Saturn has the ring of radiation.
That's the actual planet. This planet, there's something. As soon as we're done,
maybe it's like a
it'll come to me.
barrier you have to break. But like
Saturn, it really is.
Saturn has the rings, and one of those rings is radiation. But like the moon itself isn't supposed to have any of that. It's honestly probably supposed to be one of the healthiest places. It's going to be one of the healthiest places people could live until humans go there and destroy it like we are destroying the Earth.
You couldn't prove my case more.
But like, I'm not going to the moon.
We're not sending people to the moon, but we're creating Alligator Island.
Although.
But we can't send these knuckleheads to the moon and see what happens to them. And I don't mean immigrants. I mean, like hardened criminals.
Or
something like that.
Send the Jeffrey Epsteins and the Giselle Maxwells of the world to the moon.
These killers.
Ghislaine,
all these murderers. The guy who killed the health president, Ryan Kohlberger. Charlie Manson seriously.
Ooh, the guy from right outside Philadelphia.
Ellen DeGeneres who killed Anne Heche.
No, there's a current crime. It's not current. It happened a couple years ago, but he's on trial, and he actually was just in court today and admitted to murdering his father. He killed his dad and chopped off his head and said it was a citizen's arrest. And he went live on YouTube with his father's decapitated head and challenged the world to like martial law it and take down the government, and like live on YouTube with the decapitated head. It took the feds, I think, like 48 hours to get this video down.
You know what makes me mad about that?
What?
That you didn't share that with me.
I didn't see the video when it was live, and I'm glad I didn't.
Would've been
And
awesome.
he admitted it was a citizen's arrest because his dad was anti-martial law, essentially,
Gotcha.
anti-taking down the government. And he left his mom to find the decapitated body. Mom found the decapitated body. Son is long gone with the decapitated head going for the government.
Yeah.
Like driving to DC to take down the government. But he was just sitting in court, I think today, and admitted it.
So
So, like, let's send him to the moon. Let him be the government on the moon. Let him be president of the moon.
my final say currently for this episode, there's just no way that we landed on the moon. And the irony
All of it.
that all
We
of
didn't
the
land on the moon,
paperwork
guys.
and the planning and the technology accidentally burned down, but just that, like, yeah, we didn't go.
Of all the things we said today, we didn't land on the moon. Where
Oh,
is
no, I got another one.
MH70?
Got another one. So again, we're not talking politics. Let's talk about the Trump assassination.
Let's not. Let's.
Well, here's one theory. The kid was already dead on the roof. Like they saw him climb up, let him get in position off that kid. And the Dems, I don't think the Dems tried to get Trump killed. Do I think there's a chance that Trump, because he's a ballsy dude, could have said,
He thought
get a
he
real
could
sniper,
dodge it.
hit me in the ear. No, not dodge it. Stand still and get hit in the ear.
So, okay. So, in that scenario,
And you kill that kid. Because you don't even hear about this assassination attempt anymore.
But
it only happened.
in that a year
10
ago,
months and
tomorrow,
not a
no,
year,
tomorrow
right.
was a year.
Are you serious?
Tomorrow is 1 year.
Wow.
That is why today they released about the Secret Service who back then, a year ago, were put on leave.
Oh, you were telling me about
for
this.
10 to 42 days. It was, I don't know how
Well,
many of
they
them.
got rid of her. She had a whole
But
hearing.
I don't know how many of them, but they were all put on leave
Secret
for
Service,
10
when
to
I say
42
her.
days and without pay. And when they came back, they were put on restricted duty. And I don't know that all of them are off restricted duty a year later. But so yeah, no, that's a year ago tomorrow. That is
So,
a full. So
How
what is?
come you don't hear about the fireman who was killed while sitting in the stands?
I did hear about it on KYW today.
Okay,
They said his
I-
name, a
But you just
fireman.
don't see her. She's not an advocate for
Yeah,
anything.
they
and I don't
say
know what she should be yet. But,
They said his name, and he was a fireman for
and I
God-
believe a
God
guy got
rest his
killed because you
soul,
saw him carry that. You saw the blood.
whatever city it
You
was,
saw everything.
whatever their fire county
Yeah.
is. But so what is an assassination attempt for a pity vote?
Yes, possibly.
I mean, that's fair. That it's not.
Oh, that's
beneath
one of
him.
the thoughts that I have.
That's
because
not beneath
I
him
don't
at all.
I don't think it was. And now it sounds like political, but I'm not. I don't think it was the Dems. I don't think
No.
Biden tried to do it. I think Trump
Let's be very
and
clear.
his people. The kid, the kid could have been steered towards going up on the roof, thinking that he has a shot.
Right.
Because any soldier, and I've watched tons of podcasts about this,
To make
about
that
the shooting.
exact shot is like a once in a lifetime, unless you're a trained
No.
sniper.
Exactly.
But here's
Exactly.
the thing: if the Dems had hired a sniper, it's a once in a
And a
lifetime
sniper
shot,
can
and you're
hit that
taking
shot.
that out.
499 out of 500 attempts.
The Dems are going to hire the Chris Kyles of the world, who aren't going to miss that gimme shot.
They weren't trying to hit.
But here's the
my
thing: if it
conspiracy
was
theory.
the Dems,
Yeah.
they're taking him out. They're not going for a pity
Correct,
shot. vote.
correct.
So it couldn't have been the Dems
So I do
because
think
it
it was
didn't
pity.
happen.
You know,
You know what?
you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You don't.
I'm not sure.
People lost their lives that day that probably
I know we didn't go to the
lose
moon.
their lives.
I don't know what happened in that assassination.
Here's what I do know. Someone lost their life that day that did not need to lose their
Yeah.
life no matter what.
I know that Lee Harvey Oswald did not act alone. I feel that. I would bet
You
your
feel
life on that.
You feel that in your soul, but you don't know. It's not proven.
I do know
That's
it.
why it's still. But that's why
you're
it's still
wrong.
conspiracy.
You're wrong. I do know. I've talked to soldiers. those shots were not going to be made. It's just plain and simple. I do know in my heart,
is it
my
ever
soul.
going to be written, proven fact?
That's what I was hoping. All those files that Trump was releasing.
So that's why they're redacted.
But they're
We're never
redacted,
going to
right.
get the written, proven fact, which is
the
why it
two
would
guys
always
on the grassy
be,
knoll.
it will always be conspiracy.
Want to hear a funny, quick thing about the two guys on the grassy knoll? The movie Shooter comes on all the time for whatever reason, and it's great background for me. Marky Mark talking about killing the Ethiopian president, but he thought they were shooting the American president, whatever. Goes on the run, and he goes to this guy's house. He goes, "Could that shot have been made?" He goes, "Yeah, how do you know?" Because, no. Well, it's just like Kennedy. He goes, Lee Harvey Oswald couldn't have made that shot. He goes, "How do you know?" Because it was them two guys. And the other guy goes, "How do you know?" "Buried them myself. Shovels in the garage." Like, I know Lee Harvey Oswald did not.
You know it in
might
your
have
soul.
killed president, but there was other shots.
You know it.
I do.
A ton of other people know it. I don't know that we will ever get the unredacted
I don't think
files.
we will now.
That's the thing.
I think Trump would have been the one.
The funny thing that, we're talking about MH70 today is in
370, yeah.
MH370. In the gym today at work, we started talking about the movie Plane, which you and I watched together the other day with Gerard Butler, where they land on a
There's nothing about a plane.
where they land on a random Malaysian island.
There's-
The plane lands.
I know, but that's it.
That's it.
The movie,
But I
movie
was
keeps
just like-
going, but they're not even on a plane.
I was like, wow, is that where MH370
Netflix.
is?
I just
Like,
watched that on
but
Netflix.
we watched it
I
together.
did, okay.
Like, all of a sudden, it came up on, in the gym today, and I was like, are you guys in my Netflix account? Like, what is happening?
I also believe that we didn't land on the moon. I'm so extremely sure of that. Those are two conspiracy theories.
And the
9/11,
astronauts we just saved.
I wouldn't bet, my
Not betting Balor on it.
not betting Balor on it, but I'd feel Building 7 was a big telltale sign. When you watch the movie Loose Change for these guys
I've
that
watched
did
it with you.
We have watched it.
More than once.
It looks like controlled explosions, but if you're an engineer and you give me the no, when the building's going to collapse, that's the way that's going to look.
Give me the
I'll
scientific
believe in that
of
too.
it's going to look like this and this and this, or it's going to look like.
Yeah,
You tell me. It's not my forte.
MH370, I don't know, and I'm so. I remember when it happened. I was so into it that day, and the next it was a
It's
weekend.
been 11 years.
It's been that long now.
Yeah, 11 years.
We were on
This year's
vacation
11
once.
years.
We were on vacation once.
We were in Florida.
And it was years after it happened, and an image came out. Some guy thought he found it on Google Maps in like some jungle, like an airplane.
Like the movie Plane, just landing in a jungle, a bunch of people killed by mercenaries along the way. Which, I mean, probably isn't the worst, theory of what could have happened to that plane. Land on an island, force them to land on an island that's overtaken by mercenaries, get them all killed by the mercenaries, get rid of it.
Do you think Marilyn Monroe, was it a forced OD?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're buying into the whole
I think she had a lot on
either
a
having
lot.
an affair with the two Kennedys.
I think she had
and Sam Giancana.
She had a lot on a lot. She had a lot on the U.S. government. She had a lot on the mob. She had a lot
Who
on
loved her
everyone.
was one of the greatest, at least top 15 or
Baseball.
top 20, Joe DiMaggio.
Joe
He
DiMaggio.
owns the longest hitting streak, 56 games.
They were together for a while. He tried to get her clean at one
did.
point.
He really did.
He put her in rehab
he really
at one
loved
point.
that girl.
No, but he put her
No, I
in
know.
rehab at
I
one
know.
point because, and then she went off the wagon
she
again.
was
So
just
it's a
into
good
that.
force.
She was into that mix of bad.
She
Who would have
was,
thought the president was a bad boy?
but she was alive in a
bad
lifetime
boys,
where
bad boys.
to be a famous woman,
She
you
was
had
the
to
most famous.
do what you had to do
She
to be a
was
famous
more
woman.
famous than Jackie Onassis, Kennedy, or
Jackie Kennedy.
Jackie Kennedy. She was more. I can't think of a woman at that time.
It was
Margaret Trudeau. No,
And how messed up is that? It was her and Jackie O against each other for the style, the power, the just
you
public
don't
eye.
believe that we're trying to get into murders and Princess Di. You're not buying that. I don't think it was out and out murder. I think it was let's dox her. In today's word,
Well,
let's tell everyone where she is.
They
So,
came
and then get in
out.
that tunnel.
They
it was
came
dangerous.
out, and it was, it was known that Prince Charles was cheating on her, and she came out in that dress.
Well, she
And
was with her boyfriend at that point.
But at that point,
Dottie.
she had come
Dottie
out
was
and
her
made
boyfriend.
She had come out and made it very well known that I'm gonna rise above the crown. She
She
came
was
out,
awesome.
but
She
she
was a
came
great
out in that
humanitarian.
strapless black dress to a
That night?
charity event. No, it wasn't that
Okay.
night. It was a couple weeks before that, but it was a charity event.
Yeah.
Strapless black gown, the black gloves, and a slit up to her thigh because it was nothing she could wear while with Charles.
Right.
And it became the revenge dress. And maybe a
I've heard
month
that.
and a half later, the tunnel happens.
Really?
And I think it was that moment that set a lot of other moments in motion because she wasn't going to be held down.
Oh, no. And she was growing.
And she was the
In the
people's
world.
princess. She
She
had
was-
the people behind her.
She was the world's princess almost at that
Well,
point.
that was the thing. She was the world's princess, and she wasn't a princess anymore.
Right.
And how do you become the world's prince and his new princess without getting rid of the world's princess?
No conspiracy theory, but I would have loved to heard her talk to Meghan Markle going,
Don't
"Stop
let
being
him
a
hold you
bi-
down.
What?
Honestly, for me, it
Stop being a bitch. Like, yo, get your shit together." like-
well, I don't even know that it's stop being a bitch. It's stop being an American.
Meghan Markle?
Yeah.
But
'Cause
she is
here's the-
American.
Meghan-
and that's
but-
what
but here's the
Harry,
But here's the thing. Meghan Markle is an American in a very British world, or she was.
Yes.
And it's stop
Oh, and it
having,
didn't work.
but it was stop having your own voice.
She did have no more voice.
She wasn't allowed to have her own voice, and in America,
And that's where he was getting more and more upset. I get it.
because he married a woman who had her own voice, and I think he's not
But no
Prince
conspiracy
William.
there. Just
It's
family drama.
honestly, I think Prince Harry said, "I'm never getting the throne. I'm never getting the crown. Why the hell do I need this?
He did.
Let
feel
me live a
that.
life."
I think he's even kind of
Because he
hinted at that.
was the party boy.
Yeah.
He was, what was it? He was
Nothing
captured
wrong
in
with that. He was a kid.
He pictures in Vegas.
He was
He
a
didn't.
young man.
He didn't want to be the crown. He
Right.
didn't want to be the
No,
throne.
but nothing
So
wrong
yeah,
with that.
marry an American woman who has her own money.
Marry somebody nice.
I
People don't
think
like
she-
her.
I don't think she was. I think she was just outspoken.
All of a sudden, watch. She goes in. She gets in the car tonight. Paparazzi's
Don't
chasing
say
her.
that. That's,
I'm not. Yeah,
that's
I don't
awful.
want to do that.
She has
But it
two
would
young
make for a
children at home.
great episode next week. You know.
Of you predicting the future, that's not cool. Here's the thing. She's
well,
friends.
that's one way of
She's
saying
friends
it.
with a lot of people that maybe aren't your favorite people.
Name one.
Oprah.
Who?
Oprah.
So,
The Williams sisters.
I have no
of
problem
tennis.
with Oprah, other than her burning down all of that Hawaiian land and making those people homeless, and then getting the idiot. Oh, I gotta be careful.
And on that note, this is Setting the Record Straight.
and we're here all the time.
And we did set the record
Thank
straight
you,
today.
Terry. This is, I love this.
This was a lot of record setting.
I love
straight.
conspiracy nonsense, though. I'm that weird guy, and you
Yeah,
have to
it's
live
what I
with
grew
me.
up with.
Like, it doesn't matter if you have your own place. You show up at the house, and I go,
Did
hey, how
you
you
see
doing?
the
How you
news today about-
Exactly. Or, they found one of the two guys on the grassy knoll.
My favorite is like coming home from work. Did you see on the news today? I haven't been on my phone in 10 hours. No, I have not seen the news today. What did I miss?
Oh, that was good.
Or, yeah.
It's all good. Conspiracy theories. It makes the world go round. Paparazzi, getting the dirt with the old magazine, The Inquirer.
Yeah.
The grocery stores. But this was fun. This was really fun. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed this with you. Next week, we got Jenna back from Mueller. We're going to be talking a few things. Obviously, we'll be mentioning Big Sean. And maybe we might be mentioning another business on the street because she got such an angry text from. But we'll see how that goes.
Probably remain nameless along
Yeah,
the way.
no, we may leave the name out, but everyone will know who it was.
It'll be a great conversation to have, though.
Yep. Once again, thank you. I love you so much.
Setting the record straight.
Setting the record straight.
Young John!